questions or anything?
Check 1 2, check 1 2. On your marks. Is it going? Is it going?
No, it's going.
Is it on?
Yes, it's on.
It's on. Okay,
It's recording.
Okay, so everybody, this is what we're doing. We're doing an interview with Travis Willis, aka Mr. T, aka What You Doing Willis. That's right. Anyhow, we're gonna guide Rob along through this interview process to help him really get his interviews good. LFDF TV will be up on your episode like right now, like you're watching it. I tell you though, that Jad Knox interview was on par. So Jad, if you're watching this interview, it's not gonna be as good as yours, but you know, I must say that was very entertaining. So if you haven't saw that one, you need to scroll back down and go watch the Jad Knox interview. You'll get a good chuckle.
Fully directed by him too, and everything's his idea.
Yeah.
I try to basically let the people do their own style interview, so it really shows their character and what's.
Let's go.
Beep. Today we're out here in Mr. Willis land.
Willis World.
Willis World.
This is Willis World.
As you see, it's beautiful weather today. Sun's shining. What's your name, age, hometown, residence nowadays?
Depends on who you ask is what my name is. It's either a 4-letter word, and that's cool. I'm closer to 50 than I am 40. I'll be getting back on a dirt bike here pretty soon, just because I love dirt bikes. So I live right here in Trenton, Florida, the current home of Rob the Roadrunner Routley. Previous current home of Rob the Roadrunner Routley too, before he went on the Monster Trucks with a Z tour.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. That's right. You'll see where they started this LFDF TV.
Yep, let's start right here. Willis World.
In Willis World, that's right. Down in Miami, I got back on, got in the swing of things. The bike had that revalve, which kind of threw me off. I was already thrown off as much as it was, but yeah. So I was hoping this week, me and you could have got out here and did some riding, but unfortunately, things popped up and we couldn't do it. So we'll do it next time. Actually, I'll get out here myself here in another couple days, and I got my carpet over there. Got a bunch of free carpet.
Always a score.
Oh man, excellent.
Now you say you like to ride dirt bikes, and what kind of dirt bike do you ride? What's the model year?
My newest dirt bike is a 2017 Yamaha YZ252 smoker, because I love them 2 smokers. I love to smoke hers.
Yeah, best ones out there for sure.
And so yeah, I got that one. That was actually Ed Rossi, Blessed FMX old bike. I got that from him. Actually, well, no, I take that back. From Zero Gravity Outreach. Ed sold it to them because it was an extra bike on their tour. Then I got it off him because it was already set up, had suspensions, cut up. I did have that revalve in it, which I didn't like, but I got that switched out, so we're good now.
Put a stock one back in it?
Yep, stock was back in it. So the bike, I mean, because it was just like, it was uncontrollable.
Rather than consistent.
Yeah. So now the stock one's in, it's consistent, and basically it's me getting out here and putting in the work and getting back on a bike, because April 30th, I got a show. It's been like 4 years since I've done one.
Where's that one at?
It's going to be in somewhere in Mississippi, North Mississippi.
How long have you been riding freestyle? What was your first inspiration? What got you into what you do? I mean, I guess you kind of were the first inspiration.
Well, you know, that's just it. We're on the East Coast. It was, and it's so funny because I was in my video that's coming out today. Is like I did a little interview with Renner, because it was me, it was Ronnie Renner, Kenny, Rudy, and myself. I gotta be like proper English here. I always put myself last. But we started a team called East Coast Extreme, and that was June 24th, 2000. Was our very first show at Dade City Raceway. And the 4 of us were like, man, we were good racers at the time. They were all better than me, but we all were decent. Next thing, we're like, hey, man, they're paying people to do this stuff. We kind of organically came together, and then had a little demo or contest out of Bifflo. And then we did the first show actually at Dade City Raceway on June 24th, 2000.
And that was your first freestyle event?
That was like the first like legitimate freestyle show. It was an intermission at Dade City Raceway. But man, it was so fun. And Renner, if you're watching this, and Rudy and Kenny, you guys obviously, the Pickle Bus, the Red Rider, these are code names that people won't know unless you were there. I'll tell you real quick, the Pickle Bus was a bus that Renner borrowed off his buddy's pickle farm that carried all the Mexicans around to pick pickles. But we used it to carry all of us to the shows at the time because we had nothing. The Red Rider was a takeoff ramp that we built, Kenny built, and it was about 28 foot long, 9.5 feet tall. And it was like, but it was really flat, so it was horrible. But we made it happen, though. We did. I mean, you know, we didn't know back then. It was the beginning.
Was it steel?
Yeah. Oh yeah. All the steel was about 17,000 pounds.
Wow. How many shows did you guys use that one for?
Oh man,
for a while.
Yeah, for a while. That's back in the day when you just show up and there'd be a big dirt hill. Well, big being, if it was big, if it was 12 foot tall. But we just dropped, we didn't use measuring tapes. We just set the ramp down. We kind of like, okay. Then it was like, Travis, hit it. And then I'd hit it and I wouldn't make it. And I'd just throw the bike and the bike would land and make it. And I'd smash the back of the landing. And I'd get up, go get my bike, and then I'd make it. And then we'd do the show.
Brutes.
Yeah. I mean,
Bunch of brutes.
that was back in the day, man. We didn't have no idea of what we were doing. We just tried to do it.
Now with traveling the world, because you've been everywhere.
Try to be.
Try to be, yeah.
I'm so important. I got to check this text real quick. I got to make sure I don't miss what I'm
I don't
It
hear
started.
Oh, it is.
I did.
You just turn the choke on?
Yeah, I did.
What's your craziest story? Traveling everywhere,
Ha 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 ha.
been with everybody.
Well-
I mean, I've the people that I've met that you know as well could only put you in the craziest stories, honestly. Like,
Yeah, there's been a few. Yeah, probably the craziest one. It was Clint Esposito, Kenny Steinke, and myself in the country of Peru. And that's a story. That's a whole documentary in itself. Doing a show for evidently what become the cartel. They weren't going to pay us, like what it was back then. We would we get half our money before we got to the country, the other half once we got to the show. Well, they didn't want to pay us at the show, so we weren't going to do the show. And now we're in a stadium full of 8,000 people, and the people were getting mad at us because we weren't doing a show, but we wanted our money.
the ramps were already set in the arena and everything.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of set up. It was a really shady landing. It was a bunch of hay bales piled up with like 4 truckloads of dirt.
Jeez.
It really wasn't safe. It's probably best we didn't. But then again, yeah. So what we had to do is we just started walking around. We didn't think it was that big of a deal, really. But then some locals come up to us and they're like, "Hey guys, it's very dangerous for you guys to be here. You guys need to get out of here." I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "All these people paid to come in here and you guys aren't jumping." And we told them the situation. They're like, "Well, it's not good for you." So they helped us escape the building. We had to leave all our gear bags, everything there. We just left with what we had on. And they helped us get out of there. Again, there's a long story getting out of there. The cameras were chasing us, telling us, oh, dude, it was crazy. So anyhow,
This is in another country.
this is
where
in Peru.
cartel runs it, basically.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah. So ultimately, the promoter, which Juan Carlos was his name, go figure, Juan Carlos, right? So they wanted us to meet them. They wanted us to pay for a show. So the next day we had to meet them, and I had like a manager, translator. At
So
the
now
time.
they're saying that you guys need to pay them.
Yeah, because they're saying we sabotaged the show. And so we had to meet them. So we scheduled a meeting in the police parking lot. We get there, and it was just like the movies, man. The freaking cars come in and surround this bus that we were in, and Juan Carlos gets out with his big goon. And this is my hand of God. You can ask Clint Esposito. He'll vouch for everything.
FMX East.
FMX East, yep. And so he gets out, and then and I can see the body language wasn't good between the translator manager and Juan Carlos, the promoter. And I go out there and I say, "Hey," I say, "Everything all right, Ricardo?" And Ricardo's like, get back in the bus." And the big goon looks at me and says, "Gringo, lights out. You kissed the dirt." And when he said that, I was like, "Oh boy, this is not good." So get back in the van, try and speed things up. We go back to the hotel we're staying at, which Juan Carlos has set up. We get to the hotel. The people at the hotel say, "Listen, you guys are not allowed to leave the hotel. There are people watching you outside because we have to have another meeting with Juan Carlos the next day because evidently this is what my manager told him we're going to be paying him."
Oh,
So,
great.
yeah, so
Great
I
idea.
don't know. Again, I don't know exactly how it worked out, but he was just like, we had to have another meeting with him. So now he's freaking out. I'm freaking out. Like, we're just like, what are we doing? So I call some people in Mexico that I knew at the time, and they, lo and behold, they had some people in Peru, and they're like, "Listen, we're going to send somebody to the hotel at about 4 o'clock in the morning. You guys are all just going to dart out, jump in the car, and all that."
Because
right?
you guys were like full 24-hour under surveillance.
Yeah, we were being watched the whole time. We
Yeah.
couldn't leave, and so we do that, and the reason why we just had to jump in and go is because to lose the goon. So lose the goons, freaking. I don't think they caught on, really. I don't know. But we get out of there and we just go across town, find the first hotel, stay there. The next night we go to the U.S. Embassy, talk to the U.S. Embassy because one of the Kenny left his passport in the gear bag, which we had to leave at the stadium. So yeah, so now we don't have no passport, so we can't get out of the country. So U.S. Embassy tells us, go ahead and gives us a emergency passport, which is back to the country of origin, and then like our best advice is get a gun. That's what they tell us. So that's what we're faced with. So now we're like, okay, so let's get to the airport and buy the first plane ticket out of there. So we go to the airport, buy the first plane ticket out of there. It's going to the country of Bolivia, which luckily that's where the translator was from. So he's like, if we can get there, we can try and get some things straightened
Translator
out.
was Juan.
No, translator was Ricardo.
Oh, okay, different guy.
Yeah, Juan Carlos was a promoter. He was the cartel, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
But so then,
So they probably didn't even plan on paying you guys from the first place.
no, probably not, or maybe they would have. But again, it's a crazy time back then. It was a wild west. We're jumping all around the globe and doing shows for all these foreign countries, and we just running on a prayer.
Right.
But yeah, so now we have an emergency passport, which goes back to America and America only. And we get to the airport, only tickets first out there is going to Bolivia. So you buy those, we get to customs, and the guy's like, sorry, it's only emergency passport, only back to the country of origin, which was America.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're screwed until you pull out them Benjamins. And you pull out them Benjamins, you start laying them down in customs in them foreign countries, they go stamp, stamp, and slide you on through. So we get through and we get on the airplane, we're like, yes. I talked to Ricardo, I'm like, Ricardo, are you good? He's like, no. I'm like, why? And he's like, you don't understand, these countries, depending on who they are, they'll pull out onto the runway, stop the plane, and pull you off the plane.
What?
Yeah.
So you guys aren't even...
So still, I'm on the plane, I'm like,
yet.
yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking we're safe, but we're still literally not safe. So as we get out there, and he's like, I won't feel safe until we are taking off, until we're not even taxiing, until we are in the air. And yeah, so that's kind of the gist of it. There's probably some more in there. But yeah, it was a pretty intense time. And that was one of them. But that was pretty, that was probably one of the scariest ones. So there's all kinds of crazy ones, but that was the one, like, we're probably gonna die if we don't get the heck out of here.
Yeah, life or death.
Yeah, it was pretty much. And that wasn't jumping a dirt bike.
007 mission.
Yeah, it's my ex-CIA days.
Right. How's it going?
It's going.
It's recording.
It's recording.
It is. Do you guys feel a little bit different now? Is it different? Is it like switched around a little bit? All right. So back to the injury. Yeah. So
what's the full story on that thing?
yeah. So I basically, again, nobody's fault but my own. I had that bike that was really old, and I did the parade about an hour and a half, having fun.
So basically, the reasoning you're talking about your power valves and that is when the bike's at low idle for so long, and especially with mixed fuel, mixing your gas rather than just getting like the DP, I feel like.
Right.
The mix will gum up in your power band or your power valves, and it makes a really inconsistent power. Like,
so when a power band hits, it's not like a rat. It's not that. It's all or nothing. Or yeah. So basically that's what happened, and it shot me straight up, and that's where I was like, okay, well, if I land like this, I'm gonna go to my back, break my back, or I throw the bike, and I roll the windows up. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's when you are falling down. You're like trying to keep it balanced in the air, and you're rolling old school windows up, crank windows. A lot of you kids nowadays don't know what the heck those are.
This isn't to an airbag, which is what you've seen in all my clips. It's
that's steel landing.
Huge steel, looks like basically a transformer dinosaur.
It is
massive, thousands and tons of tons, and
it's just a big giant chunk of steel. And so yeah, so when I landed, I go to run it out, obviously, and didn't land it from that far up. It's pretty much. And so I knew it was broke right away. So then I get up and I go to walk, it wouldn't go. So I had it was Terry Russell and Cody Elkins were at that show with me, and so Terry come over and another guy to help me get over to. I was like, give me the microphone. We still got to do the show because always the show must go on. That's our philosophy from East Coast Extreme from day one.
Yep.
And it's not the first show that I announced after breaking my ankle. I've done it twice before because that was the third time I broke that ankle. But so get back to the microphone. So I started announcing. I introduced the guys. Because basically at this point I know my ankle's gonna start swelling. Just get the boot off. In between shows, I'll run to the hospital, get it wrapped up, do all that stuff. So I started announcing the guys. They start taking off, and I start undoing my boot, and I take it off. And then I see my sock is just covered in blood. And I was like, oh, that's not good. So then on the microphone, my wife is, God forbid, God love her. My wife was at the show with Katie, wherever she's running out at. And so I'm on the phone, or I get on the microphone, I was like, baby, go ahead and put the dog up and come on over here. We're gonna need an ambulance. I see blood, it's not good. And the whole crowd's just like, ooh. So anyhow, the guys are still doing the show. The paramedics, they all come over there, they're freaking out. And so, and they're wanting to, and it's all that interlocking fencing, right? So there's only one area at the end, and the guys are riding. They're like, man, we gotta get you out of here. Can you stop the guys? And I'm like, no, the show's gotta go on. But ultimately, I had to stop the guys so that they could throw me on a stretcher and get me out. What the big concern was is they couldn't find a pulse, and when they couldn't find a pulse, their fear was I severed an artery, and that obviously you bleed out internally.
Yeah.
And go figure, this freaking the town we were in. There's a really small town, so the hospital couldn't facilitate this type of injury, and so I had to drive 35 minutes in an ambulance, sitting there holding my leg, my foot just hanging down, just watching, and over Michigan roads to be, you know how Michigan roads
dude,
are.
This is one big pothole.
It's yeah. So I was like for like 35, 40 minutes to the next town to where I could.
And it always seems like basically the worst things happen in those situations too.
And so here's the real kicker. So I had my RV with me, had my dog, had my wife, and I just brought my sound. Terry Russell brought his rig in, so it was like just a little vacation for me and the wife. And so now here I am, 1,200 miles north of my house, and I destroyed my ankle, had to have surgery.
Basically my backyard.
Yeah, and so now I gotta get me and the wife back home in my RV with my dog. So a day or two after surgery, let's go, load up, left-footed drive it all the way home.
Propped it on the dash or what?
Yeah, I just kind of went back and forth both. I had it over the console, and then but man, it was tough, man, because your legs just hanging the whole time, so you can't like keep it propped up. And so like literally right after surgery, I need to have it propped up and all the blood circulating a little bit better. But
wow,
yeah, we made it. So that was my worst one. No more though.
That's not. Yeah, no more. We don't need those.
No. Yeah, so that's the one that took me off the bike. But then so here's the
How long were you up for?
So it's been like over 4 years now.
Oh, that was the one.
That was this one. And so and that's where, and then that weird thing came along, and then everybody started freaking out and couldn't go to work and all that stuff, and they shut down all the shows. So then I had to kind of go back to that blue collar. I don't know if blue collar, but it's just working.
Basically whatever you see
Construction. Yeah, pretty much what you're doing, Willis. You go see what I'm doing. Just got there making a living, and I was doing a lot of construction on the roofs, and so I guess just the therapy of me up and down the roof, man, it really made the ankle just come back to life. And I'm like, wow, this is time to get back on the bike, because there was a point where I was going to amputate it. I really was. I went and consulted and did the counseling and all that stuff, and I was done with it because the pain was just so bad.
Does it still hurt? I mean, is it?
Oh yeah, it hurts, but I got a pretty good pain tolerance. By this point, it's
what's in there? You got plates and screws and.
Oh yeah, go to my Instagram. You can see all kinds of gnarly looking stuff. At Team FMX. You can scroll down. You actually got a steel shot on there of the point right where I jumped off the bike. You'll see how high I was, and then you'll see I got a video. So nobody was at the hospital to film, so I brought my phone with me. They pushed me in the hospital, and it was, again, I kid you not, it was like a big emergency because they couldn't find a pulse. So they come busting through the doors, and there's all these nurses and doctors right there. I'm filming, right? And then they come up and they're all pushing on it, and they're like, does this hurt? And they're pushing, blood's coming out, and I'm like, oh, not really. And I take a lot of aspirin. I forget exactly what I said, but then finally the doctor's like, we gotta get him into surgery now. Put that phone down. But I was like, nobody's gonna film it. I don't have nobody here to film it. So I got a video of me, with my leg and then pushing on, blood coming out. And I got the video of the.
Do you still watch it?
If I go back to it, it doesn't bother me. It's just it's not if, it's when in this industry.
Yeah, true.
Luckily, the airbags have definitely revolutionized it and makes it. You can still get hurt on airbags. That's the thing. When you can be like, Ed, now you make it to airbag and get hurt.
Right.
You can't be foolish enough to think that airbags are not.
You have to completely respect the
Oh,
sport
absolutely,
still.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, you got to remember, you're jumping a 250-pound motorcycle on top of that. So when that smacks you, or again,
and
airbags are great, but it's definitely just don't be naive to them by no means.
Yeah. We're just about into March. A few months into 2022. What's the rest of your plans looking for this year? Is your shows? You got your YouTube channel going on.
Yeah, so
you just got monetized. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm pumped on that. It's I make money every day on YouTube. Not a lot, but it's a little. And hey, it's something. And as I generate more, I bring more content, the more it comes. Again, a big thanks to my buddy Jeremy at What the Hell, just because he's the one that kind of turned me on to this whole YouTube thing. And just it's something like anybody out there. If you want something, just never give up at it, and you can get it too. You just don't quit. That's it. And I'm not gonna quit with this. I'm having fun with it. Plans. So I got 3 shows coming up at the end of April and in the beginning of May, 3 in a row. And so my plans are to get myself back dialed in to where I can ride those. I won't be flipping all these. Well, who knows? But probably not those. I will be flipping eventually one day. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to plan on riding those as shows come. I'm getting a bunch of calls right now for shows, but they're all up north. Like I had one in South Dakota, one in Wisconsin. So I'm not really trying to drive far anymore. Trying to book locally, have fun, and just create content on my YouTube, man. It's fun being a quote-unquote content creator, which I don't really create content. I just film myself doing whatever, and that's and it seems to be entertaining to me, and that's I get some weird. I entertain myself, so some people find it entertaining. I get a couple likes.
Well, I mean, there's not very many people that you can bring along tour with you because everybody has their normal 9-to-5s and everything. So it's like, I feel like I'm alone most of the time, and well, until I got Leanne or met her. But you know, like you travel so much by yourself, you have to entertain yourself.
Oh yeah,
You know, in a sense.
No, well, hours like what was that show? Luckily, I had you with me, but we went to Kentucky a few weeks ago, and that was what 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that. And at least it's better to have somebody to ride with, and that's just getting to the show. And then when you're there, it's just you know what I mean, or whatever. It's kind of it gets
Hotel
long.
rooms, everything by yourself, or even sleeping in the truck.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when you guys are moving and grooving, you guys are every weekend pounding them out. So
yeah, so this tour is booked until the last week in November, but we cut out before that and we go to Santa's to hang out with you.
oh yeah, Santa's.
Before that,
Santa's Enchanted Forest.
we're literally booked every single weekend until November 2nd.
Yeah,
ish.
so it'd be it'd probably, well, it's like last year started on Halloween, so it probably started about the same time. I don't know, it's different every year, but yeah, basically last
And then but
2
then,
months of the year.
yeah, and then it turns into multiple shows every single day for 2 months straight.
On up to midnight.
Yep. 2 shows, 3 shows, sometimes 4 for the bonus show. It's pretty wild. Hurts my shoulders.
It's fun.
But
It's a lot of work.
not just this year, but what do you have going on for a future? Like, is there anything you're working towards?
Ultimately, you know what I would really like to do, which I think would be fun. I've always wanted to do, and maybe YouTube can help me with this over the years. But I'd like to just get out and just help other people. I mean, I'd like to just get enough content and funds coming in through YouTube where I can just use that to create content to go help other people better themselves and acquire their dreams, no matter what it may be. If it's riding dirt bikes, playing football. I mean, that was one of my goals as a younger man. I one day have a at-risk youth foundation. Give those kids an opportunity to be something in life, because depending on who you are, where you come from, we all have that opportunity that if we can be inspired and make something of ourselves versus getting the wrong impression. Because I got stories myself, same thing with being inspired or being upset because of that person, what they did, and that person was an inspiration to me.
That was the hat story, right?
Yeah, the hat story. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's always a goal. I feel like as an entertainer, we're not just there to ride and do tricks. Like we're entertainers, and we're inspirations for the next generation. So
and not even just for dirt bike ride, just for people in general.
Yeah. Because if they could see, they can come to a show or even just get a glimpse of it, and they're like, wow, these guys are getting paid to do this, and all I want to do is be an artist, not to say whatever, but I want to be an artist or a musician. And I feel like it really shows them, like, if they work for it, because nothing's ever going to get handed to you. It's going to take work, but if you stay committed enough for it for long enough, like, you become the profession. There's a certain amount of hours you do an activity, and then it becomes a profession.
Right. Well, it's just like I said earlier, you'll succeed if you don't quit.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Don't quit. And again, I'm nobody. I got the baddest tricks from 1998 that you could ever see here in 2022. Yeah. But there's guys out there that kill it. But you know what? I still get to ride my dirt bike for an occupation, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I wanted to ride my dirt bike and make that my occupation. So you can be inspired to do what you want to do, but you don't have to be the best in whatever that is to make it an occupation and make it something you get to do every day for a job.
Don't ever compare yourself to the biggest and baddest dudes, because if you do that, you're gonna not have the self-motivation or the drive to do it. I feel like if you do it for fun, or you do it just on your own.
Well, you do. I mean, you want to better yourself. You want to push yourself, but don't sit there and, like I say, compare yourself to other people, because you're not. You're your own self, and that's where I've always been in my own lane. I've always said from day one. I've known everybody in this industry. I was the first guy to do this landing ramp stuff for Monster Gym. There's a whole story behind that. There's so many stories that go on with this 22 years that I've been doing it. But rewinding back to Ultimate, point is just don't ever quit. Don't give up on yourself, and you can be whatever it is you want to be. Just do it, as Nike says. Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't quit. So this one, I get to ask the questions. Do you have a question? If you do, put it down there in the comments and send a comment to LFDFTV because we want to know what you guys are thinking. I'm super pumped for you, Rob. I mean, like so my YouTube, you know, again, I work. I've been consistent, coming up on a year now. I've been blessed with a guy who has a lot of following, and I've done some videos with him. Actually, I'm going out today to do some more shooting, so I do get a lot of followers from that. But everybody's watching. Be sure to click like and subscribe so that we can get this guy up to 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours. So something that's really cool that you guys can do is watch the videos from the beginning all the way to the end. That will help get those watch hours up and get him monetized. And I totally forgot where I was going with this.
My question.
Oh yeah, I gotta ask him a question, but I was asking you guys to ask him a question. All right, so my question for Rob, the Road Runner Routley.
Oh boy.
That's a good scenario. All right, my question to you is, how long before you're gonna get flip levers for your motorcycle?
Oh, okay, this is actually really good.
Oh, I know.
Because the moment that I did my first flip, not saying that they're easy, but I just have a good I flip pit bikes, big bikes now, pit bikes,
BMX. You're already flipping everything but big dirt bikes.
Yeah, do the globe of death, like everything. So it's kind of just the whole looping, everything.
You got that figured out.
Right. And
your brain's just crooked and upside down, spinning all the time.
Yeah. And so right from that first tug, well, actually the second one, because the first one, attempt. And now know this too, that my first go was 73 feet. Like I just set the ramp full gap with Anthony Murray. Huge help to him for teaching me.
We're gonna tag him down in a little.
Yeah. And actually, Anthony Murray comes into this flip lever situation. So first flip, just tried it like a BMX bike and landed upside down. One of the most scariest things in my life. Yeah, race gas pouring all over you. I'm not claustrophobic, but like.
It's scary when you're stuck in the bottom of a pit. I know. Yeah.
People are yelling if you're okay and everything, and you can't hear them. So, but anyways, from that second flip, I would say then, because that second one came all the way around. Okay, and then so it was easy. I mean, honestly, it was so right away. I'm already my couple next pulls to flip into the foam pit. I'm mentally thinking already, like I'm pinching my legs, I'm hooking my foot for no-handed flips for. I can heel click.
You're starting to feel being comfortable upside down and being able to feel your body physics and everything how it is upside down.
And I can backflip, heel clicker a BMX bike too. So it's like, but with that, you can feel the bike come out.
Yeah, the BMX bike, you can use your wrist to spin it back down. Where you need those flip levers to get that leverage back on the big motorcycle.
Which those are mounted to your handlebars, and they come up, and there's a foam pad that basically hit right here on your forearms rather than the clutch levers or something on your hands here. It's for the.
So ultimately what it does, when he goes upside down, it locks in. So the bike's above him, it locks in on his wrist, and it gives him the ability to use that as leverage, to pull himself back up onto the bike as the bike's spinning. Complicated, but that's what they're for. So when are you getting them?
So back to Anthony Murray, that day he showed me a design of his flip levers that he wants to create. It's a real slim profile design, CNC machined, everything. So we've been contacting back and forth quite a bit about these, and I'm kind of waiting on him to drop his, and that's what I'm gonna
maybe jump on some of his. Okay, cool. All right, well.
But till then, actually, what I'm gonna try to get is one of those GPR or GPR.
I still do tricks from 1998. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Steering stabilizer.
Stabilizer.
Steering stabilizer. So
I really do just do tricks from 1998, but.
So it's basically replaces your top triple clamp on your handlebars, and it has a little dial, so it makes it where your bars turn nice and easy, or you adjust it all the way up and they don't turn at all.
Stiffen them, yeah. So that when you go upside down, your bars don't go.
Because of what you saw in the last show at Homestead, Florida, I did my first flip trick, which was a flip, super late because it was last minute decision. It wasn't even like I was gonna hit the ramp and I'm gonna do a flip one-hander. It was I'm flipping. Yeah, let's take a hand off.
Right. Yeah.
So with a flip no-hander, if you take your hands off when you're upside down, your handlebars, they go back and forth and
that's what you want that for.
And that's basically committing suicide.
Yeah, that's not a good.
Steering stabilizer. Next trick's gonna be flip no-hander.
All right, you heard it yourselves right here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. I can't wait. I can't wait, actually. Man, it's freaking beautiful. Sunshine, blue skies, the river soon. Hey, check this out. Watch this. You ever seen this before? Running through the forest, running through the forest, running through the forest. Boom, hit a tree.